everyone, and we are live yet again. This is the first of two this week that I'm filming of my live authors chats. And so right now I'm just going to wait and see if my co-host is able to join. And just a moment, sending her the invite right now.
Hey, there we are. There's Katharine.
Hello,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm just going to put my volume up, Katharine. I put it down because there was somebody else here, and I'm in an airport. I'm outside an airport. I'm not flying anywhere. I'm just here in an airport. Ah,
Well, how
so,
do you this is you're visiting the United States right now, so how are you liking it?
oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I've been here 8 days now, and it's going too fast. I have to say, it's going far too fast.
Now,
I'm having a lot of time. Oh, somebody's asked me a question. Do I like cats or dogs? Cats or dogs? Heavens, I like both actually. I don't have any pets, but I like them both. And somebody's asked me what colour's my Bugatti. I wish I had a Bugatti, but my car is grey.
yes, well, let me first apologize. You may hear a little background noise. I don't know what's going on with my neighbors, so if you hear a little background noise on my end, I do want to apologize. This is what happens when you live in an apartment complex. But just to kind of kickstart these chats since you've never done it before, and I'm super excited about the fact that I get to finally talk to you because I've been following your TikTok videos since practically I joined this app. So I'm super excited about talking with you today. But how I like to kind of structure them is since sometimes you will have viewers who know only you or vice versa, I'll let you talk about yourself, your books, and then I'll do a little bit about that on my end. And from there, we'll just answer any questions, talk about writing, our inspirations, and go from there.
Excellent. All sounds grand to me. I have to apologise for noise as well, but there's literally nothing I can do about it. It's planes taking off. Although they're private. It's a very small airport, so they're private planes that are taking off behind me. I'm literally seconds from the runway. They could land on my head.
Oh no. Well, I'll let you start off and just tell us about your books and your writing and what you're all about.
Yeah, well, I haven't actually got any of my books here with me because we're out and about all day. But I write crime thrillers. Well, not just crime thrillers, but I've got a crime thriller series set in Scotland. That's the Detective Inspector Shona Mackenzie Mysteries. I write young adult mysteries, the Ferguson Flora Mysteries. I write cozy mystery series, that's Cass Claymore Investigates. And I write children's picture books, the Bertie the Buffalo picture book series, and I write non-fiction books for authors. They're the books I write. But my author name is Wendy H Jones for two reasons. First of all, it's my name, but I'm using H in the middle, which is my middle name, which is Henderson. I'm using the H in the middle because if you look up my books without the H in the middle, you'll get some woman that wrote a book called The Sex Lives of English Women. I know nothing about the sex lives of English women, and probably somebody will TikTok now because I've mentioned that word. I'm sorry. It's just a
Hey, no, it's good to be very specific because definitely there are authors who have shared the same name more or less, and if you look up the wrong one, you'll get a totally different genre of book than you're expecting. So, yeah, so make sure you look up Wendy H, not just Wendy. Yes.
Ah, yeah, sorry, I'm looking because people are coming. I'm wondering if I'm disturbing them. That's all. Hello, I'm on TikTok. I'm doing a TikTok live. I know. People know what I'm doing, seeing as I'm sitting in a public area.
It, it's fine. It's fine. Actually, the gentleman I talked to last week, he was in a public area too. So it's fun to see people being able just to interact and talk no matter where you are, especially, if you're able to get away and take a little vacation now and then.
Yeah, yeah. So it's great. Well, I'm here for 2 months. It's not little. I'm here
Oh,
for I'm here from the 1st of August to the 4th of October.
oh,
I'm here. I'm doing a book signing and speaking tour. So I was signing books on Friday and Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Then I start again on Thursday, and I've got another 5 book signings in a row.
oh.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I've literally, in 2 months, I've got 20 book signings and I'm speaking at 4 conferences. So, yeah, busy time.
That is busy. So, did you arrange this tour yourself, or did someone else help arrange this? Because I've never done a major book tour like you're attempting right now, and that sounds fascinating. So, is this something you've been planning for a while, or how did this come about?
Well, what happened was 3 years ago in 2019, I was invited to speak at a conference called the Travelling Pen out in Virginia. And I was coming out to speak at another conference because I was invited to speak at that as well in West Virginia, which was what was that? It was the Shepherdstown University writing conference. And so I spoke at both of those. And the Travelling Pen one, I was invited back as a keynote in the following year because apparently I made everybody laugh and they enjoyed my session. I'm sorry, there's a plane coming in.
No, that's
Can you
fine.
hear it? Can you hear it? There's a plane behind me. Look, it's just coming in.
I love that.
I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, I I was invited back in 2020. Well, what happened in 2020? There was a COVID outbreak, so nobody could go anywhere. 21, the Hampton Roads Writers Conference, which is what it's called, were saying that I was their keynote, and I said, "There's only one slight problem with this. Your government has said we can't come in because I'm from Britain and we're on a ban until COVID gets sorted out." So I couldn't do it in 2021. So they invited me back this year. So that was the starting point. Then Shepherdstown University invited me back, and my friend Ali Marie, who is goes to the Hampton Road Writers Conference, she's also an author. She decided to do a lot of book tours. So I said, "Could you get us some signings?" And she's arranged them. So some of them I've done before, some of them I've never done before. So Ali Marie's done most of the arranging, but the conferences I kind of arranged myself.
Yeah. No, that is truly neat. I love that. I maybe one day I'll attempt to do like a larger tour, but since that's just it sounds like so much work to arrange everything and travel, especially depending on how far you're going. I have yet to
Yeah,
do that. But
yeah,
for anybody who's jumping in, I'm just letting you know because I see a lot of people bouncing in and out that right now I'm talking with Wendy, and she writes cozy mysteries all the way to thrillers. And then on my end, I am an epic fantasy author, so I have various series of different age brackets. Do my little background poster, but I have a young adult, adventure. Sometimes it's qualified as portal fantasy, noble bright. So it's that positive, happy. Think of Lord of the Rings style fantasies with a huge multiverse of all different kind of mythological characters. And the other two series I have kind of get darker. One's a new adult shifter war fantasy set in a kingdom that's on the verge of war. And both the human race and the shape-shifting race called Therimorphs have to decide if they can put aside their differences to get along and, fend off the threat. And the final series I have is an adult. It's a darker Viking war fantasy. It's going to take you through. It's pretty much a retelling of an obscure Nordic myth. So you're going to kind of explore and see all 9 realms in and around Yggdrasil, the World Tree, through Norse mythology. But I'm epic fantasy. She's the more mysteries and cozy mysteries and thrillers. So we'll go from there. But going back to you, let me go ask Wendy, how many books, because it sounds like you have a huge number from children's literature all the way to more your adult literature. How many books have you written?
it's a good question. I have to count them every time. Can I just say hello to a couple of people before
Oh, yes, go for it.
Because JC Fuller, who's also another amazing author, has joined us. She's in Seattle. And Mama Bush Writes has also joined us, and I can't remember where she's from, but usually USA. And my friend S.C. Skillman, who's the lovely Sheila Robinson. She writes as S.C. Skillman. She has joined us from the UK. So hello, everyone. And somebody's asked me where I am. I'm in Suffolk, Virginia. And there's a poor lady come out here to have a quiet drink. Got me on a TikTok live. Oh, what a shame. I'll just explain what I'm doing. I'm a Scottish author and I'm here from Scotland doing book signings, and I'm doing a TikTok live with somebody else in America, so that's why I'm so loud. Sorry. I thought I'd better explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Yes, so but the books I've got out, I've got seven Detective Inspector Shona Mackenzie mysteries, one Kath Playmore Investigates mystery. So that's what, seven. I've got, no, that's eight. I've got three Fergus and Flora mysteries, which is 11, but they're out of print at the moment because they're going to a new publisher. I've got two Bertie the Buffalo books, which is, so that's 11, 13. I've got three, soon to be four, non-fiction books for writers. So that's 15. Have we got up to now? 17. And then I'm in numerous anthologies. I'm about to come out in a Christmas anthology called Deadly Traditions, which is on pre-order at the moment for 99 cents with authors USA and Britain. And they're all Christmas mysteries, cozy, thriller, whatever. And that's mainly people from Sisters in Crime. And I'm in numerous other anthologies. I've also edited 1, 2, 3 anthologies for other people, and not 5, 1, 2, 5. I've edited 5 and compiled 5 anthologies for other people and published them. So a lot of books that my name's in. I'm in about 10 different anthologies as well, maybe more.
Yeah. So let me ask, because I've also never done or been part of an anthology. How's that process? Like, who reaches out to you, or do you search for it? How's that? Do you already submit a pre-written work, or do you write something specifically for that anthology? Since that's something that I'm unfamiliar with, is that concept.
Well, two of the anthologies that I was the editor for, I was the webmaster for the Association of Christian Writers, and I edited and formatted and published their anthologies. Then they brought out another anthology, and I wasn't involved in the editing or publishing of that because I wasn't on the committee any longer for that. So, but they approached me to write a chapter for it. It's called Write Well, and it's for writers, Christian writers. So I wrote the chapter on self-publishing for that. Because although I have publishers, I also self-publish some of my books. I'm independently published with my own publishing company and have published I've published other authors. I also then 3 of the anthologies, which are about empowering women. 5 of the anthologies, which is about empowering women. I was approached to write for them, and then 3 of them they asked me to edit, format, publish them on their behalf, which I did. Then some of the other anthologies were groups of people I knew. I was approached for the Deadly Traditions one because I knew a group of people, and they said, we're looking for people, you write mysteries, so you might want to do that. So it's a mixture of things, Love
it.
Yeah.
That is really neat. No, I've heard a lot of good things about participating in an anthology because obviously you get that wider exposure to new readers, and it's always nice to be able to market something else in even a smaller format. Since I'm a person who writes typically larger works, and so challenging yourself to do these smaller snippets to give people a taste of what you're about it sounds very nice, at least.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to answer. I'm just going to say somebody answered one of my. Mama Bush Writes is in Canada. So we've got people from America, Canada, and the UK here. Hey, we're truly international. And I'm sitting, Scottish accent, and I'm sitting in Suffolk, Virginia. So, hey, we're all over the world. We're everywhere today, Katharine.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Well, who have you got? Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Let me see. I've had people pop in and out from, but yeah, like you said, there are a number of people in and around. I see the US, but If anybody is listening and wants to let us know where you are from at any point, that is very interesting because different times of day, I never know what areas of the country are chiming in to this platform. So it is something that is fascinating.
I'm getting to be an expert on international time zones. I tell you, it's lives I've done and Zooms, and people will go, "Oh, we'll Zoom at this time," and I go, "Well, that's actually 3 o'clock in the morning for me, so you may not want to have it then because I might look a bit exhausted, you know." So I'm getting quite good at it. Oh, somebody's from Sweden,
Oh, hi,
Andrea.
Sweden.
And we've got Sweden now as well. Oh my goodness, and we're getting roses. 17 roses. I'm so excited. If anybody wants to give likes and roses and anything at all, apparently that TikTok thinks I'm really popular then, and they
Yes.
out the world, they tell more people that we're here. So, apparently that's the way TikTok shares it with people. Fabulous. Well,
That
people are
is
jumping mine as well, but some people are staying. We've got likes, we've got roses. Oh, JC Fuller's my top one viewer. JC, rock. You rock. She writes an amazing, amazing mystery series. And the
Ooh.
first one, Black Bear Alibi. And it is brilliant. And if Mama Bush tells me what she writes, because it's escaped my memory right now, I'll say what she writes. And Essie Skillman, she writes brilliant books. She writes mysteries, and she also writes non-fiction, like ghost stories and things about her local area. And it's
Ooh, I
all
love that.
Shakespeare country. So really interesting historical non-fiction. Really
Ooh,
good.
that's fascinating. So let me
So
ask.
hey,
Oops, sorry.
check. Sorry, go for it.
Oh, I was going to ask you, so what got you interested in writing the thrillers and the mystery? Is that something you grew up just loving to read that genre, or what inspired you to pursue that as your writing career?
Yeah, when I was this is important as part of the story. I was an early adult. I was an early reader. I could read when I was 3, and I joined independently. And I joined. My mother got me to join the local library, which was actually impossible then. You had to be 5 to get a library ticket, but somehow or other she got me a library ticket. And I read my way through everything in the children's bit of the library by the age of 10. And then somehow or other I managed to get a library card for the adult library by the age, and you didn't get that till you were 18. But my mother, obviously, nobody would argue with my mother, not even me. Nobody would argue with her. So anyway, I love my mother dearly, but she was a feisty Scottish lady, as they say. So I was a very early reader. So because I read through everything, but my favourites were always things like The Famous Five, The Secret Seven, Nancy Drew, The Hardy
Yeah.
Boys. I read
Mm-hmm.
everything, literally everything. All the other things like Millie Molly Mandy and Cherry Ames, which was nursing books. And then when I moved on to the adult books, my mothers and my aunt and my mother and my aunt read mysteries. My grandmother read historical fiction. So I just read whatever they read, whatever was around. I read a series of vampire books once called Barnabas Collins. If you've ever heard, they're the funniest vampire books on the planet.
Not
I
read
think they're
those.
still in print. They're so funny. I don't read vampires, but I was about 11 and that was what was available because my mum and my aunt were reading them. I
Mm-hmm.
read all the classics before I was even 12. I'd read Pride and Prejudice, these things, because I didn't know any different. I just read them. But mysteries were always my favorite because that was what was around the house and I could read them. So I read widely. I don't just read mysteries, but they're my passion. And I had an idea for a mystery. So that was what made me start really with the mysteries, to be honest, just because I had an idea for one. I'm writing something at the moment that is historical and not a mystery. And
Oh,
if you don't mind me telling this story, is it all
you go
right?
for it.
Right. Basically, I'm the president of the Scottish Association of Writers. And my secretary, the secretary, who's a very good friend of mine, so she knows me well, sent me an email saying, "This has your name all over it." Sorry, there's a fly terrorizing me in my coffee. That's
Okay.
why I'm waving. Um, the so she said, this has your name written all over it. And so I looked at it, and it was a gentleman from Australia called John Beagle, and he said, I've spent my life researching a gentleman called Thomas Graham, who was he was a 19th century naval surgeon from Scotland, and he had an extraordinary life, but he wanted a book written about it. So she said, "This has got your name all over it." I said, "Well, I'll have a chat with John Beagle." So we had a chat, and as I used to be in the Royal Navy as a nurse,
Wow.
and I was in the army as a nurse, and
Huh.
Scotland. So there was a link. So I said, I'll have a look at it. So he sent me all the papers, and some of it's originals, most of it's photocopies because the originals are in archives all over the world. But this man went all over the world. He went to the Caribbean. He went to Ireland. He went to Caribbean. He went to Ireland. He went to America, Hong Kong, China, Europe. He went all over the world. He died at the age of 31 in Whampoa in China. So that's one of the reasons I'm in the States. I'm actually researching some of what he did in America. I'm going to be going to the Library of Congress and the New York Public Library and things like that to do research. So, and I got a grant to come out here because of that. I've been given a grant by this Scottish Authors International Travel Fund to do research. To come to a conference actually and do research. And I was also given a grant to go to Antigua for 2 weeks from the Society of Authors to do research about him in the Caribbean. So I was very lucky. I've been very lucky. I've been to the Caribbean and America since April this year.
Wow.
I've been really lucky.
That is so neat. I love
but
that.
That's not a mystery at all.
Yes. Is that
that's
a book
historical fiction?
Yeah, is that, and I know you were mentioning earlier that you've published things as an indie author, and you've published things through professional publishing houses. Is this particular book, since it's a historical novel, is that going to be something you're doing as an indie author, or is this going through a publishing house?
This is going through my agent, the wonderful Amy Collins, Alcott Notch Literary Agency. She's picked up a lot of stuff for me and is pitching my books to like TV studios and foreign language rights and translation and audio rights, and also this new one to publishers. So it's going to go to publishers. I think she's going to pitch it to the big 5 or 4 or however many there are now. It gets less every year because somebody buys somebody out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's for an agent. Amy is amazing, although I don't think Amy is open to submissions at the moment. She spoke to me and took. So.
No, I mean that's a good thing to note for people. Like, there are so many good literary agents out there, but just like anybody else, they can max out on how many people you can get, and so just keep trying if you're trying to get a literary agent. Eventually, I would want one myself. Obviously, I'm epic fantasy. That's different than what you write, but that would be really neat to have an agent kind of help me, because I would like to be hybrid, having someone like what you were saying, some stuff published indie and some stuff published through other houses down the line would be like the ideal for me. But in the meantime, I'm an indie person, so I always love talking to people who do a little bit of everything or do things differently, because I love learning. And I think a lot of people who chime in and listen to these little videos are hoping to learn as well. So you can always bestow upon people like us whatever knowledge you have. We love that.
I'm sorry about the noise. There's an airplane starting up.
That's fine. That is fine.
Because I thought I wouldn't disturb as many people because there wasn't anybody out here. I didn't want to disturb the diners listening to me, because I'm actually at a restaurant at an airport, and I didn't want to disturb the diners with me. So, but it's very pleasant out here. I'm getting the sun, so.
Yes. Welcome to the. Well, actually, you said you're in Virginia, and maybe a little cooler up there than I'm in Georgia, so it's warm down here. It's very hot down here, but.
It's boiling here, but I like the heat. I'm very jealous of the fact you're from Georgia, because I want to go to Savannah.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
I desperately want to go to. I really want to go. I read Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, and I've wanted to go to Savannah ever since.
It is a beautiful city to explore, especially if you do like that history or architecture. I mean, there's so many books and stories written in and around that area that range from obviously fiction, nonfiction. There's so much rich history there, and it's a pretty little city. So yes, if you are able to come back to the U.S. again, you should definitely visit Savannah. It's a very pretty town.
Oh, I'm back. Don't worry, I will be back. I'm always traveling when I'm on a plane going somewhere. I'm not so keen on going back home, like, but I'm keen on traveling.
Hey, no,
Although saying that,
I've been to Scotland once.
sorry.
I said I went to Scotland once, but because I am a Scotch person, I went to the Isla to enjoy some of the distilleries there. But that was my only experience in Scotland.
Oh well, going to distillery is awesome. I'm in Dundee, which is on the east coast.
hmm
It's 50 miles north of it.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
So I
Very.
can hop on a bus.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah, I hear. I think we're losing a little bit of sound just because probably reception. It could be on my end. It could be that. So if you're glitching on your end, just let me know. But but yeah, no, I would love to go back to the UK and explore and kind of what you were talking about of, I don't know if I would ever get a grant level, but because I do write my sagas about the people during the Viking era and their mythology, I would love to go to like the Scandinavian countries and Sweden and Norway and all that, because Iceland even, just because there's so much rich history that I can learn by going and traveling and going to the museums and doing the research like what you're saying, that I could incorporate in my, even though they're fantasy novels, incorporate into them as well. And I think that would be fantastic if I ever got the chance.
Well, no, it would. And if you went to Scotland and you're interested in the Vikings, then you need to go to the Shetlands and the Orkney Isles
Oh
because
yeah.
they're all Viking. They're
Mm-hmm.
all Norse. The rest of Scotland's pretty much Celtic, but the Shetlands and uh,
The Orkney Islands.
the Orkneys
Mm-hmm.
are Norse. Yeah. So they're descended from Vikings, and they have all the Viking festivals. They have Uphelia and everything like that, where they burn boats. I think they're effigies of boats. They're not real boats
Yeah.
anymore. They're just paper versions. I
That's
don't know what they
crazy.
burn. I hope it's not a real boat because it seems an awfully waste of a boat.
Yeah, so that's a lot. That's a waste. Well, I guess it all depends on what you consider a waste. But yeah, that's a lot of poor trees that have gone into building a boat. But yeah, I actually have the saga of the Orkney Islands on my bookshelf because, as you were saying, it's a very Viking forward culture up there from
Yeah,
lineage, at least wise. And so I do have that ancient saga on my bookshelf because that's some of the stuff I read. Is I like the ancient epics. So I'm that person who'll read anything from the Iliad and Odyssey all the way to the Icelandic sagas.
yeah. I've got a friend whose author name is Lexie, Lexie Cunningham, Conningham. Yeah, Lexie Cunningham, and she writes the most magnificent Viking mysteries. They're
Ooh,
really good, and they're the only Viking mysteries I've ever heard of.
yeah, I've never
Well
heard
worth getting.
that. Okay, Cunningham. Okay, I'll remember this. And since thankfully this platform does allow all this to be recorded, I'll be able to reference that later because I will
Yeah,
definitely look that up because I love reading all that. And I want to try to expose myself to more mysteries down the line because mystery and thriller books, every time I read them, I enjoy them, but because they're not what I think of when I'm going to go and pick up a book, it's one of those things that I usually just automatically go and grab a fantasy or that kind of epic or an adventure. But I do like mysteries. I just haven't had the chance to read a lot of them in the past.
yeah. Sorry, there's another plane taking off. I didn't realize this airport was so busy.
Hey, now you know,
Okay.
but it's a beautiful day, it looks like, where you are, so I can see that a lot of people are deciding to take their planes out.
By the way, Mama Bushwright says she wrote Sarah's Rising by Coffee Agnello. It's biographical fiction. There we are. Oh, my friend Sheila, who writes as S.C. Skillman, has just finished a young adult novel about Vikings in Northumbria.
Ooh.
That's in England. Do you mean you finished reading it, Sheila, or you finished writing it? Let us know.
Yes. That's fascinating. I love that.
Yeah. So I don't know whether she's finished reading it or finished writing it.
Well, we will hopefully find out. Now, let me ask you, since you, going back to your books, you have a whole different variety of book series. Can you tell us which one was your first book series that you ever wrote, and how did that go? Because everybody, I feel like, as an author, learns a lot through just the process of writing and going through publishing, and hopefully gets better and improves going down the line. But where did you start? What was your first series?
Right, well, my very first series was the Detective Inspector Shona Mackenzie Mysteries. And the first book in it was Killer's Countdown. Now, I'm very good at marketing, yeah? Mm-hmm. So I had not even written one word. And I put out a blog saying, I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be a mystery series set in Scotland. That was pretty much the blog. I mean, I had a bit more than that because it was 500 words, but, it was pretty much saying that. And people were going, oh, where can I buy it? Did you read the blog? I said, I'm going to write it. So by the time I'd actually written it, I was telling people about it. I was telling people about the process. It took about 2 years for the first one to come out because it went to publishers, and the publishers said, think about it. Most of them said no. And then I thought, I'm a very impatient little soul. I'll bring it out myself and see how it goes. So I brought it out myself, and it went extremely well because I went along to Waterstones, which is our equivalent of Barnes & Noble. It's a chain bookstore. And I said, can I have a book launch? And they went, who are you? So I kind of told them what I was doing, and they said, do you well, can you give us a copy and we'll see? I said, I can't because it's not out yet. But I can show you a picture of the cover on my mobile phone. And they went, all right then. And they said, well, it's a Scottish crime fiction and it's got a nice cover. So the likelihood is it'll sell. So yeah, you can have a book launch if you can get enough people here. And I went, oh, I'll get enough people here. So night of the book launch, they kept saying, how many people are coming? How many people are coming? And I said, in the end, I said about 100. And they went, that's too many. And I went, well, there's nothing I can do about it. They'll be here. You'll just have to fit them in somehow or other, which we did. So the top, they had 2 levels in the store, but the top has like a mezzanine. So you can look down. So I was in the mezzanine. It was packed. The mezzanine bit was packed. And I just had to talk loudly. And so there was over 150 people at the book launch, and the book sold like gangbusters. Then the libraries picked it up and took 25 copies for each book. So my first week, I sold loads of books. And I mean, wow. I'm talking in my first week. So I was really lucky. It was picked up. It went well on Amazon. I got to the top 1,000 overall on the whole of Amazon. It did really well. So in the meantime, one of the publishers, I was at a conference, and one of the publishers that had turned me down were there. They said, we want a meeting with you. And I said, okay, but I haven't booked a meeting with you. They went, no, we want a meeting with you. We'll fit you in after lunch. So I was like, okay. So we had our lunch. We went and had a meeting, and they said, we made a big mistake. We should have picked you up. And can we buy you out? Well, they couldn't afford to buy me out. So the rest, they say, is history.
Wow.
I was quite fortunate. Series. I've done extremely well with that series. There's 7 books in it now. People like it. Although I have to say, let's put this into context, okay? In Scotland, our biggest selling export is whiskey. Our second biggest export is crime fiction. So really and truly, if you get the rest of the world thinks we're a bunch of drunken murderers. And if you can't sell a crime book in Scotland, you're not trying. I mean, really, crime, everybody loves a dead book in Scotland. We like a crime book. So, we're in a situation where crime sells well. So that's why I do well. But I do well in the States as well. People like Scottish stuff in the States. If I do a book signing in the States, I will wear my Highland dress.
Oh,
that attracts people.
Yes.
So this poor lady's killing herself laughing. She's probably like, what have I got myself into here?
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you very much. She says my accent helps.
It does. No, I love that. That is wonderful.
But then a publisher approached me at another conference and asked if I would write some young adult books for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that went well. And then I was to write the Bertie the Buffalo picture books. And again, I was approached to write the historical stuff. So my name's getting out there.
Love that. So when was your first book released?
7 years ago.
That's awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing. You are a prolific writer, that sounds like, but that is absolutely amazing and such an inspiring story for people who, again, I'll kind of download this and then re-upload it on my YouTube channel next week so people can like learn, continue to find you and discover you and learn about your work. But your story is really inspiring in the sense that there are so many people who maybe are rejected from trying to get into a publishing house, but to know that, if you market yourself well, if you do well, there's still a chance if you want to go wide to still be picked up. And that's I love that. Congratulations on your end. Okay, I think you froze for a moment on mine, but let's see if Wendy will be able to come back. Oh, no. Okay, well, it looks like we lost her. And again, that's just probably because we had poor service and she was outside. But if I can't get her back on in a moment, let me see if I can get her back in here. That is the life of authors on the go. But either way, if going back to that point of if you're a writer and just understand, yes, rejection's a thing and you can be rejected multiple times, multiple ways, but that doesn't mean it's anything to say about your quality of writing. Sometimes authors or publishing houses and agents they have so many people that are trying to query in with them, and it's hard for them to give you a chance because a lot of times if you've ever queried before, most of them just accept one letter, and I think the style is 3 to 5 paragraphs, and that's as much as you can pitch about your work, and they have to judge based on hundreds to thousands of other query letters that they see, and people make mistakes. So the fact that Wendy, who was here just a moment ago, was saying that she was able to get picked up by one of the publishers that actually had turned her down originally, but then they saw how much people really loved her works and how well she was doing that they came and apologized and actually picked her up after the fact is still something that it's a possibility. So, okay, well, I don't see Wendy, and I probably just because she was out and about, and I think we lost her for the day. But if you have any questions for her or anything, check her out. Please do. Again, she is a cozy mystery. She's a thriller writer. She even does some children's books as well, and is working her way through a nonfiction where she had some grants to go travel the world for, which is amazing. So definitely check her out. And if you see this on my YouTube next week, I'll put all her wonderful contact information below so you can learn more. Okay, everyone, thank you for the live, and I will see you actually later this week.